Preseason game number 1 in the books, and it's just what everybody expected, a tie. Welcome on into the Bear Report podcast. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zach Pearson. And Zach, some ups, some downs. I wish they would play some overtime in the preseason just to spice it up a little bit, but sadly, we were not gifted with such a situation come Sunday afternoon.
I am opposite of that. I am thankful that there was no overtime. I was actually like 3 minutes left of the game. I was sitting there, I was like checking the rules. I'm like, please have there be no overtime. Please have there be no overtime, because it was just, I don't know. Preseason is just bleh, especially with no starters. But yeah, I mean, I think we learned some things on Sunday. And we're going to learn some more things on next Sunday in prime time as the Bears take on the Bills, and the Bills come to town for joint practices, and then one more preseason game. Like, they have 2 within 5 days, which then you're right there into what would it be? Yeah, the weekend, and then boom, Labor Day, and then off to NFL season.
It'll be here before you know it. An early Labor Day this year, kind of playing into the hands of what is an earlier NFL season. But before we get that far down the road, again, learning a lot about this team, even though, again, not all of the starters playing at all. I think only one starter, technically, if you want to call Braxton Jones that, at least the entrenched Braxton Jones. The defense taking a breather, the offense taking a breather overall, but not fully getting the day off. A very interesting morning at Soldier Field for the starters, running through a 70-play practice and getting everything that Caleb Williams needs to understand in a very intense drill setup. DJ Moore out there, Rome Odunze, Zacchaeus Kmet, no defense present, but essentially getting through an entire game's worth script to really kind of set things up with some simulated scenarios, the huddle, the cadence, the motions. I gotta imagine at some point here now we're going to see the starters make an appearance this coming weekend. Now that they've got that under their belt, they've got the joint practice with Miami, and we can get into whatever happened, the hysteria of the Bears tackling, God forbid, they play football in a practice. Very interesting way to go about the first week with starters under Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, this is just all part of their plan. It's clear Ben Johnson has a plan. I think him and Ryan Poles both said in their presser to open up camp. I know Ben Johnson said, they value the preseason. They value the joint practices as an extension of the preseason. And, they have Buffalo coming in. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think the way this training camp has been physical, we've seen the live day of tackling. We've seen them go hard again against the Miami Dolphins. We saw the 75-play script on Sunday morning. They were out there Monday practicing a little lighter, but still practicing. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think they're going to play Friday in the joint practice. I think most of the starters will have Sunday off, and I think we'll see them a series or two against Kansas City. And I necessarily don't agree with it. I think the starters should play, especially after Monday's practice, and we'll get into that. But if this is Ben Johnson's, this is what he wants to do. This is how he wants to handle the preseason. Now, if Friday the offense stinks it up in the joint practice, or they have another bad day tomorrow, what is it, Tuesday or Wednesday? Excuse me, and Thursday, maybe he changed his mind. But I think this is the plan. I think we likely won't see the starters. He hasn't said anything yet. He talks on Wednesday, then he talks Friday. So we'll know Friday for sure what's going on. But yeah, man, it wouldn't shock me if he didn't play the starters come Sunday.
And truly, that's the thing that shocks me, is that we're sitting here hearing all of these reports about false starts, delay of games, things that need to get worked out, and the opportunity for the team to sit here and give them real game snaps to try and get those issues figured out. And it's like, nah, we're good. To me, that just doesn't feel right, knowing what they're struggling with and the fact that you can give it a little bit more of a realist approach to try and solve. Taking practice snaps is one thing. Taking them in an arena full of screaming fans is another. And again, I understand where Ben Johnson is coming from. And someone had mentioned, looking back at his time with the Lions, Jared Goff never played in the preseason. Like,
Yeah.
he never did. And so this was something that just continued to kind of roll into his role with the Bears, where it don't really need to go out there, don't really need to see, the real deal. And yes, Jared Goff, very good with Ben Johnson, but we also have not seen the very good of Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson yet. And I think that gives a lot of people pause in terms of just how good is this team right now to step out there on Monday Night Football against what will be a very formidable defense in the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, let me tell you this. If what I saw Monday out there, and let me set the scene. So Monday was essentially 34 to 35 players who did not play Sunday in Sunday's game. They went through the walkthrough, simulated 75 plays. There was a couple exemptions. Braxton Jones, he only played 23 snaps, I think, on Sunday. He was out there Monday. Ozzie Trapillo was not. I think he played more, 35, 36. Power Eccles, the linebacker, was out there. Theo Benedict was out there. And one of the defensive backs was out there. Well, Tyreek Stevens was out there, but he only played a series. Another defense, I forgot Jeremiah Walker was out there. But I think that's simply because they needed bodies to run the 11-on-11, the drills. They took the mandatory water breaks. So it was a little bit of a different setup. They still did 11-on-11. They still did the 7-on-7. And honestly, man, it felt like an April practice. Way too many footballs hitting the ground, way too many bad throws, way too many miscommunication with the wide receivers. Now, not all on Caleb Williams. DJ Moore had a couple drops. He had a crossing route where Ben Johnson essentially designed something that, the rest of the offense was on the other side of the field, and there was just nothing but green grass in front of DJ Moore. Probably would have had to beat one guy 20 yards on the field to prevent a score, and he just dropped the ball. There was a throw to Colson Loveland at the 1, 2, 3 yard line where a little too much heat on it, but it hit Loveland in the hands. He dropped it. Would have been probably a touchdown. But there was throws to Rome Odunze that were just bad throws. And in the last throw practice, we saw, Caleb let the ball go. Rome was not in the spot, and you just heard Caleb yell Rome like he was mad, and then you heard, Rome say something like Caleb, and like he was mad that he thought he was supposed to be in this right spot. So yeah, there was a couple of the Superman type throws where rolling out the pocket and just kind of tossing it up, which you could get away with in college football time to time. The NFL, it's 1 in every 100. Yeah. It's very rare. So, I left Monday's practice thinking, and not like I'm panicking because I don't think Caleb Williams will be good or anything like that. I don't think they're where they need to be in this stage. And I didn't even mention there was a delay of game in the 11-on-11. So yeah, I just, it's hard for me to judge all this because there's been a couple good offensive days. I'd say 2 to 3, but majority's been better defensive days. There hasn't been like the firework day for the offense where you're just seeing the ball launched on the field. But the defense is good, man. Like, I think Dennis Allen's defense can be very good. They're giving Caleb Williams different looks. They're bringing pressure from TJ Edwards, Jaquan Brisker, Tremaine Edmonds, Kyler Gordon when he was out there. They're bringing different looks. They're throwing a lot at Caleb Williams. And we keep hearing the word, simulate. We want to simulate the pressure. We want to simulate this situation. That's just what Ben Johnson wants to do. He wants to simulate what he can and control what he can. And the hope is they're ready week 1. 4 weeks ago, man, I don't know. I'm not saying like there's no hope, but I think this is going to be a little bit of a slower start than we imagine at this moment. Could change.
I mean, to be fair, it is going to be a lot of pressure dialed up week one. So maybe, you get somebody just ready enough for that. But again, getting further out ahead of it, just from what we continue to hear about this, it concerns me. It really does.
Yeah.
And it's just the mental mistakes. And for as much as we want to hear about this coaching staff focusing in on not making those mental mistakes and the repetitiveness of getting into the groove on specific things, but like you said, it's not April. It's the second week of August, and we're still hearing about it. And that is not okay.
Yeah.
And so now you can't help but wonder, what more can you do at this point? Knowing that, okay, great, it's Drew Dahlman. He's getting used to Caleb Williams, but I mean, they've been around each other for a few months now, and they don't have that figured out with just trying to get off the quicker snaps. If they know that the clock's coming down, that Caleb's not breaking the huddle as quickly as he needs to. Is it a problem with him communicating with Ben Johnson on the plays? Like, where is the breakdown that they aren't showing that urgency to get to the line and snap the ball in time in a practice? Like, that's the part I just don't get, because the pressure shouldn't be there, regardless of if Dennis Allen's defense is wanting to mess with them a little bit in terms of bringing said pressure. Like, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's the thing is, like, it's not to the point where it's like, okay, this season's lost. And I'm not saying, like, things could turn around. They could come out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, have 3 great practices, and we feel better about it. It's just everything's so amplified right now because it's click season for the national media. And you have Caleb Williams, who is a lightning rod. He was a lightning rod at USC.
He's always been a lightning rod.
Yeah. And you have a franchise who has just not been able to solve the quarterback position. They had a really bad head coach last year. So it's almost like the perfect storm where the national media is not at these practices. I mean, I can literally tell you which national media members have been there. I've seen them. There's been probably 4 or 5. And it's not the talking heads that you're seeing on ESPN and, Coward and all those guys. It's just the perfect storm. Now,
right.
I agree with you. Like, it should be better. It really should be better at this point. I think it's fair to say, because I don't think it's the end of the world either. I think there are some struggles getting in and out of the huddle. The throws not always are bad. Defense makes plays. Nahshon Wright made a hell of a play. And if he didn't make that play diving, in practice, it would have been an easy, 30-yard completion to Rome Odunze. So it's like there's just a lot to factor in. But, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't be worried. I just still need to see improvement, if that kind of makes sense. I'm like, I hate to play the middle of it, but that's just kind of where I'm at. Like, they still have 4 weeks. They still have a couple more. Yeah. And we don't, and to be fair, we don't know where they're supposed to be at this stage. Like, I think we can make our own judgment, but I also think Ben Johnson has, like, a timeline of where he wants them to be at, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They could be where they want to be at, and I don't know.
Just the fact that it's the pre-snap penalty stuff.
Yeah,
like that's what eats away at me.
That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, this is a team that needs to show discipline at all levels. I mean, they struggled to do that in different areas last year, and we've seen Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, the rest of this coaching staff really hone in on those. But you also don't want to forget about the simplistic things that you need to do on the field day in and day out, that just, going through, again, that repetition and understanding, where things need to be at a given time. And I understand, maybe they're still trying to weed out what works best, what doesn't work best, basing things off of the athleticism, the talent level across, the receivers, Caleb, the running backs, making sure that they're putting in the best play packages possible. I get that's not all the way along. It's just, it's not the things that we should be saying are, not all the way along that are not all the way along. It's
Yeah,
just,
well,
it is what it is, I guess. I mean, again, it's like you said, it's the lightning rod that just continues to follow this team around, the hype with just the continuous, off-season win after off-season win of look at what they're doing, look at what they're building, look at everything that they're going to be putting together and putting a winning team on the field. And then, come the regular season, we just continue to get disappointed, and it just continues to build up even more each following season with the magnifying glass and the hype that go into the preseason for this team. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
yeah, and that's because they haven't found success in a long time. Yeah, so I get why it's frustrating. I don't know, but this week it provides another opportunity for them to go out there, practice against another team, practice against a team that, let's be real, is top 4 to 5 Super Bowl contender, a team who has the MVP from last year, a team who, has a good defense, has a good offense. So, yeah, this will be a good test for the Bears. And I think now is the point of the offseason or training camp where you really want to start stacking these days that are good. You're going to have days where the offense and defense are good. You're going to have days, where the defense is good and the offense is, bad. But you want to see the offense start to win some more battles. And more importantly, you want to cut back on the delay of games, the legal formations. Now, I don't have a count of how many there are, but it has gotten a little better.
There were enough.
There was a lot. Monday's practice, I saw one. Going against the Dolphins, I saw 1 or 2. So I think it is starting to become a focus and more clear. But, you also have to look at, Caleb Williams and his processing and where he's seeing the blitz. I kind of feel like watching him, he's getting out the pocket too early. He doesn't trust himself in the pocket, which he's going to have to fix. And he's going to have to process that better and quicker and get the open receivers. And he can do that. That's fine. Second year after a disaster of a first year, a wasted first year, there's going to be some rough patches. I don't think anyone's expecting Caleb Williams to come out and be a top 5 MVP candidate or anything like that. Like, we shouldn't expect that. He just needs to get better. Just get better and you're fine. But, here we go. We got Buffalo coming in, Hard Knocks coming back to Hallis Hall. We'll see how it goes.
First episode was terrible, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched it. It was not
I did.
good.
And it's a shame because I like the Hard Knocks. Like, I think it's fun to watch, but man, the Bears watered it down.
They did.
Yeah, the Bills are watering it down.
The Bears broke HBO.
Yeah.
That's essentially what occurred.
Dude, there was so much stuff that we saw out there that was like, wow, I can't wait for them to show this. And then it just didn't show it because there's probably F-bombs or something. Like, there was so much more stuff out there that they left out. And yeah, I don't know. But here we go. Now we got the Bills coming into town. We'll see what Ben Johnson's plan is. But yeah, it'll be another good challenge for them. And going against the Dolphins too was a good challenge. I mean, the Dolphins, Bears defense dominated that practice. The Dolphins defense had a pretty damn good day too against the Bears offense.
Yeah, it's overall very interesting mixed bag for what we saw and just kind of moving forward into these joint practices that are coming up against the Bills. The offensive tackle battle between Ozzie Trapillo and Braxton Jones, there was a really bad block that Braxton Jones had that he just whiffed. Completely whiffed.
On the touchdown.
But at the same time, there was nothing that Ozzie truly did to stand out at the same time. And Kieran Amagaji being hurt again, not helping his cause. I think he's pretty much written off as having the opportunity at this point in time that, now it's down to these two guys, which I think a lot of people expected out of the gate. But the fact that Braxton was back out there on Monday with the starters, I'd have to imagine by the end of this week, there's going to be a little bit more clarity that at least out of the gate, they're going to roll with Braxton, and the fact that they had him out there with the rest of the starting five.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what to make of the left tackle situation at this point, because like you said, Braxton was out there. He did played some fewer snaps, but he was out there at the first team. He's been getting first team reps too. He was the first team left tackle Sunday. But then Declan Doyle, before practice is saying there's a little separation, didn't say who, and then said it's still an open competition, which are they separated from Kieran? Kieran was I should have noted, he was out there Monday. So that was good news. But I think he's obviously fallen behind. So was the separation with Braxton and Ozzie in terms of Kieran? I don't know. I was talking to someone about this on the beat, and both of us made cases for both players to be the starter and cases against both players to be the starter. And I said, honestly, the odds have to be like even right now. I just don't know who they're going to go. I mean, probably Braxton, because he's the veteran. Yeah, he's got the experience, but that missed block he had was really bad. It was really bad. And
I honestly, out of all of the plays that occurred on Sunday, like that's the one where I'm just like, dude,
yeah,
what happened?
And if they don't score on that drive, you're going to look at that play, and then you're going to look at the two plays before, I think it was, where Tyson Bagent had Luther Burden coming open, and he did the check down instead at the goal line, or a couple yards short of the goal line. But yeah, I mean, with Braxton, I think it's pretty clear he's not 100% where he was last year.
Yeah.
Because, watching him move, to me, he's like waiting for the contact. He's like kind of sitting, he's like grabbing. He's not like attacking. He's not going to attack the edge rusher. He's just kind of grabbing at him. And I don't know if that's just the leg not being strong, not being fully 100% healthy. But yeah, he's got some struggles, and I don't know, man. Maybe we'll get some clarity this week. Hopefully, it kind of sounds like they're ready to start moving forward with their starting offensive line, because you only have the two preseason games. A week from Thursday is the last preseason game, so it's going to have to come quick.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a lot of decisions, which it's going to be interesting overall, because even beyond that, just looking at a couple guys that stood out, and I'm honestly curious to see the next release of the depth chart, because in all honesty, there were some performances on Sunday I didn't see coming, and overall just fantastic, outputs. Austin Booker. Just the motor on that dude. And yes, Germain Ifedi was the guy that he was going up against. And there's not much to write home about, as all Bears fans know. So Germain Ifedi.
Did you know this? I've totally forgot this until I got to joint practices on Friday and looked at the roster. The Bears have the Dolphins have 3 former Bears offensive linemen. Ifedi.
At what point did they think that was a good idea?
I mean, James Daniels is probably the only one I would pursue.
He was one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the offseason.
Yeah. Larry Borum is one of their offensive linemen. I mean, they're just missing Bobby Massey out there, and they got pretty much all of the Bears' former line. Yeah, I think of the two that really stood out with Noah Sewell and Austin Booker, I think Booker was a little more surprising. He did this last year in the preseason, though. He had a big preseason and then kind of just faded in the regular season. With Sewell, I mean, we've been watching this at practice like he has been one of their best defenders at practice. He's had multiple good days. He's all over the field. He looks comfortable in that strong side linebacker spot. He's finally getting the opportunity to play. And I was wondering if it would translate to the games from the practices. That first drive, 4 tackles, a forced fumble, the goal line. I don't know if he's, you know, a star in this league or anything like that, but I think he's a good third linebacker to have out there that, you know, he's not going to be a hole for you on your defense.
Yeah, outside of and obviously he's not going to see based on the secondary that the Bears have built, but the pass coverage, not necessarily the strong suit for him.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, just very solid downhill, not missing his tackles, hitting his gaps, putting the pressure where he needs to. You couldn't have asked for more out of him, honestly, to really feel comfortable about him being the guy there, where things were essentially leaning between him and Ruben Hippolyte.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, he's got that third job, I think, pretty much locked down now. Like, I would be shocked, but, you know, he's definitely turned a corner and he's making the most of his play. And now Booker, you know, for Booker, he's got to carry this into the regular season. We got to kind of see this in the regular season for me to believe. But yeah, other than that, you know, Colson Loveland looks good. I mean, it didn't really play a lot. Luther Burden had his moments. But yeah, kind of just a rough game to watch, honestly. Like Quinn Ewers' stat line was just ugly. Yeah, I think this week will be a little better. I don't. What are you looking for this week? What do you hope to see in the Bills preseason game?
Honestly, I need to see more of Kyle Monangai.
Yeah.
There is a lot that wants me to say this dude is it as a backup to DeAndre Swift, and I know Roschon's dealing with his own injury issues right now, and this is his time to really shine with these extra touches that he's going to get. And I mean, just seeing the cutting ability that he had and hitting the hole and not going down easy for a guy his size, it was a very welcoming style of play at the running back position that, frankly, the Bears haven't necessarily had in recent years. And so I'm excited to see more of that and see if, you know, is it a fluke if he gets a little bit more with, you know, not necessarily facing off against the 2s and the 3s, but maybe the 1s early on.
Yeah.
If DeAndre Swift chooses to be rested again, that's the big one for me is seeing that, and then also the corner battle, because it sounds like it's still not a done deal that Tyreek Stevenson's going to be starting opposite Jalen Johnson. It really feels like they are going to push that envelope as far as they can. And frankly, Terrell Smith, he's looking pretty darn good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance that Tyreek Stevenson and Nahshon Wright start week 1 if Jalen Johnson can't go. And Kyler Gordon's got a hamstring too. So there could be some trouble in that secondary. You know, with Monangai, kid as a bruiser as a back. I mean, he was so much fun to watch. The one thing obviously we have to kind of keep an eye on some pass blocking. He admitted, I got, someone got me. He went up against Bradley Chubb in Friday's practice, and it went about as expected when Bradley Chubb pretty much kind of went through him. I asked him about the locker room, and he pretty much said, he goes, look, that it's a Pro Bowler. He's 6'4", 6'5". I can't, back away. I have to go, but I have to hit him before he hits me. And so he knows the pass protection has to get better. I think that's kind of a key. And, we'll see moving forward if he can get better in pass protection, because, he might be lined up against Joey Bosa or have to face off against Joey Bosa on Friday or I'm blanking on the other Bills pass rusher. He went to Iowa, Espinoza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to, if he wants to earn reps, pass blocking is the best way to earn reps. And he gets another chance Friday in joint practices and probably Sunday during the game as well. And, Roschon's health is obviously a question mark at this point with his foot injury. So now you're at the point in camp and in games where you want to get out of there healthy and hope that your guys get healthy as possible.
Yeah, and really seeing the energy again, I think, is going to be the big thing too, is, again, kind of touching on it very lightly. There was just a different level to what the Bears came out with, to the point where there were Dolphins fighting with each other. It was just all over the board. We had Dolphins beat writers saying that it wasn't supposed to be tackling, and the Bears were throwing around the Dolphins like rag dolls and boo-hoo and how dare they. But to see that again is going to be something I look forward to. I'd have to imagine Dennis Allen is going to bring it, because it's Dennis Allen, and that's the mindset that he's kind of instilled in these guys, as we've seen for the last several weeks. But again, going after a like you said, an MVP quarterback like Allen is going to be a solid test for them, even if it is just a joint practice is the only place that we see him. You know, it's a mobile quarterback. It's somebody that is just built differently that the Bears have not had the chance to see yet in this very small time frame of a training camp and joint practices. Tua is very much a statuesque type QB, and Josh Allen is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And so it's going to be a good test, really, for the defense. I'm not too concerned, obviously, with the offense, especially if we're not going to see them in the game, and it's going to be more of this, the joint practice means more, we'll do maybe they'll do another 70 play run through again before the game Sunday night on Sunday afternoon. We'll see. I'm still irritated. It's Sunday night. I mean, it's so stupid that there's a
Prime
Sunday
time,
night
man.
preseason game.
Yeah,
but I digress. I have to imagine that there is going to be some added, I guess, focus on the fact that there are going to be more people watching, and they do want to make more of a statement that, hey, we're here. We know we can compete, even if it is just for a possession or two against the Bills number ones, or if they sit two, who knows what we're going to see.
Yeah. I mean, the Sunday night thing is rough, and it's the prime time, but it's another opportunity. Hopefully, the Bears offense comes out, and I want to see them play well on Friday night or Friday morning in the joint practice, but also the defense is another tough task ahead of them too, and see how they can kind of handle Josh Allen. And it's clear Dennis Allen wants to be physical, man. And there was no full tackling. I don't know where that came from. There was a couple, bumps, shoulders, hits. But we'll see. Sean McDermott is a different type of coach than Mike McDaniel, so I'm guessing he'll welcome a little contact as long as no one touches Josh Allen. And no one hits Caleb Williams completely off limits. But we'll know a little bit more about this team next week after these joint practice and second preseason game.
And like you said, the quick turnaround, that next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, the final preseason game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and very doubtful we'll see any of their superstars in that game and what the Bears put out on the field. And if there's anybody now with this essentially being crunch time, 9 days, you got 2 games and a joint practice. Is there somebody that's currently sitting on this roster now where you're thinking they really got to do something in order to solidify a roster spot come 2 weeks from now?
I'm trying to think, like maybe Ian Wheeler, someone like that. He'll get a chance to play, obviously. Ian Wheeler, trying to go through. I mean, there's so many. The secondary, the defensive backs are such a tough one because they just signed 4 defensive backs, cut one or waived one, put one on injured reserve. Jalen Johnson's not healthy, so that one's a little tough. I think, man, I'd probably have to say Ian Wheeler's a guy that could take advantage of something like this. Wide receiver wise, they're not going to cut Duvernay. They're not going to cut Zaccheaus. Tyler Scott would probably be a guy that's fighting for his job right now. I'd say those two. I mean, those aren't the sexy answers by any means, but those are 2 guys to kind of watch and see. Chris Williams. I know they really like Chris Williams. I don't think he's going to get cut, but he's a guy I keep my eye on this weekend as well.
I would like to see more of Trey Flowers, for being like a solid veteran signing. He was fun to watch on Sunday. Just the energy that he was bringing. And again, I know it's not against starters, but there's something about him. And I know they brought him in after the Jalen Johnson news and the fact that it was, a lot of uncertainty of whether or not he'd be ready for week 1. It was just different. And I liked it. So I'm curious to see if they give him a little bit more run, a couple more opportunities to step up. And like you said, the injuries that continue to pile up in that secondary, he very well may get that option come Sunday night against the Bills. So we'll see.
Yeah, he should get a shot there.
So we got the Bills around the corner. Nice joint practice followed by a game. And then before you know it, next week we'll be talking about the finale of the preseason, some cut downs that will happen shortly thereafter. And then it's actual football time with a Monday night showdown against the Minnesota Vikings at Soldier Field. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bear Report podcast. We do appreciate you tuning in and listening or watching. If you're following us along on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, we will be back next week recapping that Bears-Bills preseason game and looking ahead to week number 3 of the preseason. So for Zach Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.